right, so I have taken this fender off, and the reason why is I needed to get to here eventually, so I'm waiting on my parts still. They were supposed to be here yesterday. I'm not real happy about that because I really wanted to get the wheels on it and see if it would go. So I took that fender off so I could look to the extent of what that damage is, and that looks pretty bad. I don't know. We're going to have to... Unfortunately, the blocks are in the way right now, but we will have to... we'll have to get it down and be able to look at it a little bit better. I ground this down today to take a look and see how bad that is. It's not as bad as I thought it was. I thought it was going to be rusted all the way back through here and under here, and it's not. And I thought this was going to be rusted way up, but it really isn't. So that's not as bad. What else? And that's it. That's what I've gotten done. I'm trying to figure out, I know this is the antenna, but I'm trying to figure out what this little wire is right here. Because there is a bracket that goes here that I would assume is your power antenna, where your power antenna motor would go. So this is the bracket. So that then attaches... That attaches to there like that. And then I would assume you'd secure your motor for your power antenna here, which obviously this one doesn't have. So I can understand that just the regular antenna, and this is the antenna wire. But is that a ground, maybe? A ground wire for the antenna? Could be. I guess. Oh, I guess in case what? Lightning hits your antenna? And it grounds it through the car. I don't know. So if anyone knows, let me know. All right, so the parts finally showed up. And this is what I've been waiting for. Is this brake line. I got a couple other things in here. That's for the emergency brake. And then I got another brake handle because that other one wasn't working real well. And this is actually off of a later car, but apparently I've been told, and I've seen this. And first of all, I always kind of wanted to do a later one because it's smaller and it's got a leather wrap on it. It just looks so much nicer, but it also has more holding power. The teeth themselves right here, and everything is a little bit stronger, and you can see how that has 2 grips on it. And the other one just has 1 or 2 teeth. And it just bolts right in, so it's plug and play. So I'm going to clean up the brake line, flush it out, clean the threads, get it on, and then we can start bleeding the system. Okay, so this is that piece that came off the antenna. I cracked it open, and this is the wire that was attached to it, and it actually went to nowhere. It didn't attach to anything. So I'm just trying to figure out exactly what that's for. Because the last antenna, the one that was in the car, remember, underneath the dash, was just an antenna. It didn't have all this. So not exactly sure what that all is. Somebody can help me, that would be awesome. Well, I'm not sure why I ever get my hopes up with this car. So you can see right there. And let's see if I can show you the other spot. Well, can't really, it's kind of hard to see. But that line just completely blew out. It's just all leaking right out of it. So, I have to see if I can get that line replaced. And then I guess might as well place the one next to it as well. So we will see what we can do about that. Well, there's one of the brake lines. So this is the brake line that goes from the master cylinder to the junction to the right front brake pad or brake caliper. And then the other one's bad too. The other one's seeping in the same spot. You can see how rusty. How rusty that is, and it was kind of like up underneath behind the torque tube is where that was. So as soon as this is what I was using to bleed them. As soon as I put any kind of pressure in it, it just came all flowing right out. So I'll let those finish just draining out as best they can. I'll take them off of there, and I've just got to order new brake lines, and I'm hoping I can finagle them up and around the torque tube without having to take the torque tube off to put them in. But we will see. So I decided to bend my own brake lines. I just have a feeling that it might end up being easier to do that. Not easier, but safer, since the other lines are used, and if I'm going to go through the hassle of putting these in. So I just started practicing doing some bubble flares and things like that on my old fuel line. Didn't work real well. And then this, as I was trying to tighten it, broke. I'm not sure that these are the right ones to actually use to do it. I think there's other ones. So what I did was I ordered brake line, because this is fuel line, not to mention it's too big. And I ordered new connectors, new bubble connectors, and a new flaring tool kit. And I got one with different connectors on it, or different things that are specific for bubble flare. I think this is an inverted flare set, not necessarily a bubble flare. So that could be why. So that should be here this week, and hopefully I'll have some time to work on it this weekend. Not sure, but then I got to get these lines out of the bay as well, which shouldn't be that difficult, since it's this one and this one that need to come out. And then I'll try to get them out. Hopefully I can get them out without having to take the torque tube out, bend them, and try to get them back in. Okay, so I went ahead and I bought some 3/16 brake line tubing. Bought a new flaring kit with actual bubble flares. The other one I think was like an inverted flare. It wasn't bubble flare. So, and I like this one because you put the adapter right into it. It's not something that you put and it's got the little like triangle thing that you've got to put on the adapter and then screw it down. The adapter actually is right on the bolt part. So this was the one that I got. But interesting enough, there's no cutter for the tubing. So, I mean, luckily I had one from my old set. And then I also bought all new 10x1 bubble flares. And I already tested them. They go into the calipers and they do fit over this. And I did my first bubble flare with it. Let's see. And it came out really, really nice. So I am just going to get those brake lines out, hopefully. And I'm just going to redo the brake lines. All right, well, we got both brake lines out. So this was the one that just completely blew out and snapped. So that was the other end of it. As I was trying to finagle this out, this broke on me. Same spot. This was right over the top of the torque tube, which is just really weird because this is such a high point. Why would it rust out up here? Because you would think any water that would get on it would travel down, but it didn't. It's just really weird. So we'll start trying to bend new brake lines. All right, first brake line is bent. And basically I just bent this by hand. All the way up until this turn right here where I use this to do it. Because that was pretty sharp. I didn't want to take the chance on kinking that. So now I just got to cut these to length and flare them. And we can try putting that in. The only concern I had was where it broke, I didn't know which way it went. So I might have to rebend this the opposite way, if that's what that is. But I tried to put it back as best I could. And I think what it is that goes up. So it made sense that it would go the way I put it, and the two ends kind of matched up that way also. So I think that's correct. Might take a little finagling once I get it into the car, hopefully. Hopefully I can get it in. So we will see. All right. There it is. It came out pretty good, so I just got to do the other end now. Hopefully it'll come out as good. Then we can work on getting the other one made, and we can work on getting them back in the car. Alright, so I was starting to get frustrated because I've ruined a bunch of lines so far. And what was happening was this. Let's see if I can focus in on that. Was that. And I couldn't figure out what was happening because I did like 4 of them just fine. And then all of a sudden it started doing this, and it kept doing it, and I couldn't figure out what it was. So then I finally got that. And what I figured out that it was this was actually gripping on the metal versus sliding on it. So I threw some WD-40 right there by the nub to grease that up a little bit so it would slide on the metal versus somehow grabbing it and twisting it. So now I got one side done, so I've got to go ahead and bend it. And yeah, I ordered some more just in case, but if I can get this done and it'll work, then I'll cancel that order. But this is my last piece that's long enough to do it, so wish me luck. All right, success on that last one. So there it is. So that came out great. So if anybody is ever doing this and it starts grabbing it, I think part of it is, you know, the metal is softer than like a steel, galvanized steel one or whatever. So it's easier to twist a little bit. And I think that's part of the reason. But it was just grabbing. It was just grabbing on that right in there. So it's a little WD-40 in there, and that worked beautifully. All right, brake lines are in, kind of, sort of. Show you underneath here. Hang on a second. Get on my roller. All right. So there's the new ones. Come down. Come down to here. Go into there. And then come back here and goes into there. Now, these fittings were a little bit bigger lengthwise than what was on there, but that shouldn't make a difference because it's in there tight, and that bubble flare, I mean, the tube itself is not moving. So this one I'm a little concerned about. Tried to tighten it up as much as I could, but there was a little bit of brake fluid that came out of here when I tightened it up, and I'm hoping what it was when I put this in, it kind of got on the other side of the bubble flare, and that's all that there was. But I'm definitely going to have to keep an eye on that. And then I still have to secure this. Still have to secure these, and I think what I'm going to do is just buy some generic ones, and I'll just drill into the car, and then just seal it up. But I need to just secure these so they're not touching, because this one right now is kind of, I don't know if you could see it, it's kind of touching this right now. So if I can just get it over to the side and secure it, that should be good for that. So next thing is to pressurize the system and see if I got any leaks. Well, as you can see, there's another brake line off. So when I was trying to tighten this up, because it was leaking a little bit, so it's the back one. So I don't know. I don't know. I mean, they're leaking just a little bit, but it's a leak. So I was sitting there trying to tighten this up, and when I did, this, I think, snapped from just being rusty. So might as well replace that one. I think with this, though, I might try using these fittings versus the new ones that I bought. I'll clean those up, put those on. I mean, there was no leak from these. It's just the ones that are going into these T's down there. So, you know, I'll undo the other one and try to reset it and everything, but I got to get this off of here first.